Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video. One of the banes of photographers is dealing with noisy images. Sometimes they're noisy because of human error, sometimes conditions like fast-moving subjects in low light that we can't do anything about. But one thing is certain, it can destroy our images. And we sometimes get so frustrated or discouraged that we're tempted to throw them into the garbage bin. But does it need to be so? In this video, I'm going to share with you the big boo-boos that I see people do in the field that actually make noise worse, the mistakes people make in processing when they get home, and finally, what I use for my workflow to get clean-looking images, even high ISO ones, like these. And if you're tired of paying for subscriptions for software, I'll be offering up my discount code SIMON for a perpetual license if you want to use the same software I use. My name is Simon D'Entremont and I'm a professional nature and wildlife photographer living in Eastern Canada. I make weekly videos giving you photo tips or taking you behind the scenes for nature photography. Subscribe if you want to see more. Okay, what is this noise in our images anyway? There are lots of different types of noise in our photos, depending on how and what you shoot. Astrophotographers who shoot long exposures or really dark subjects, like nebulas, need to worry about fixed pattern noise, like this, where you can actually see the pattern made by the pixels. Other photographers who regularly shoot in very dark conditions may see the noise of the electronics of the sensor in their images, what we call read noise, like this. But for most of us, the noise that's most prevalent in our photos is photon noise, or shot noise. This noise comes from the random variation that individual photons of light have when entering the little wells on our sensors, the photosites. We call these pixels when converted to an image. Why does this happen? Why do we get noisy images? Well, think of putting glasses out in the rain. These are our photosites. As it rains, the raindrops, or photons of light, fall into the glasses. Now, when there isn't much rain, the variation in the number of drops is a lot from glass to glass. Or if we only leave the glass out for a very short time, one glass may have 10, the next 6, the next 14, the next 11, etc. If we calculate these as differences in the brightness on a sensor, we might get this. A large difference in the brightness of the pixels. This is analogous to a noisy image from not having enough light. Theoretically, all the glasses out in the rain should come out the same amount of raindrops, but in real life, that's not what happens. But if we leave glasses out a long time, the variances average out over time, with the more time equaling less variation, like 500, 523, 497, 471, etc. Represented as the brightness in pixels, it might look like this. And compared to each other, clearly a longer exposure, or leaving the glasses out longer, results in less variation and a cleaner image. Mathematically, this works out to a formula that says that the amount of light goes up in a linear fashion, but the noise goes up at the square root. So more light, more signal, more raindrops, the better representation of what's really going on and the less random variation. This is called the signal-to-noise ratio. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Well, that will explain my next piece of advice. So what should people do in the field to reduce shot noise? Well, the best strategy is to capture more photons, improving our signal-to-noise ratio, longer shutter speeds, and larger apertures, as well as adding light to your subject are the best strategies. They indeed work to reduce noise. Now, what about lowering your ISO? Here we run into a common misconception about ISO. It doesn't add light, it just brightens the image by turning up the brightness like the volume knob does in audio. And because it doesn't add actual light, actual photons, it doesn't improve the signal-to-noise ratio. So if I take two images, one at ISO 5000 and one at ISO 20000, but at the same shutter speed and aperture, they'll receive the same amount of light. And then I make them the same brightness in processing by brightening one and darkening the other. You'll see that the noise profile is the same. Same amount of photons, same amount of noise. Now, this is also dispelling a common myth in photography, that high ISO creates noise. It doesn't. It's just correlated to having an image that was very dark to start off with and needed lots of brightening after the fact. And because it was dark, it had a poor signal-to-noise ratio. How do we prove this? Well, I see all the time people having dark images and complaining about noise. I ask, why is your image so dark? They say, I was keeping my ISO low to keep the noise down. No. There is no advantage to having a darker, low ISO image over a brighter, high ISO one. Here, this is the right exposure level for this shot, ISO 12,800. But if I were to say, lower the ISO to 3200 to keep the noise down, what happens? If I raise the dark exposure to match the brighter one, what is the noise profile? The same. Why? Because changing the ISO did not change the amount of light onto your sensor. These are just brightness changes done in the camera after the light has been captured. And in case you're going to say something like, well, the noise was lower in the dark image, but brightening it made it worse. No. Here's the same comparison by darkening the high ISO image. So in camera, using your ISO to manage the noise levels doesn't do anything. To get less noisy images, lengthen your shutter speed, open up your aperture, or add light like a flash, LED panel, or go outside or to a window if you're indoors. Okay, let's say you're stuck with the noise that you have, like shooting sports in a dark gym, or me shooting wildlife in pre-dawn or after sunset. You can't use a tripod or long shutter speeds as the subjects are moving, and the aperture on your lens is wide open already. Noise is inevitable. Regularly shooting at ISO 6400 or 12,800 to get the photo of the right brightness. What to do then? Once you have your photos in your computer, I see two big problems all the time that are just making things worse. First, I see people zooming into 200 and 300% to inspect the details in their photo. This pixel peeping is an extreme amount of zoom that just makes the noise look much, much worse. And it's an amount of zoom that no one looking at your photo will ever be able to do. The tip here? Just don't. But rather than just being snarky, there's a real tip here. It's that since zooming into your photos makes the noise look much worse, the corollary here is that you shouldn't overcrop your images when you're processing them. Look for ways to crop and compose that keeps the subject small in the frame and doesn't expose the noise. Like here, if I zoom the shot of mine in too much, I'll just show off the noise. So I should look at cropping options that keep a wide view. 2, I see people making the noise worse by raising the shadows in their processing. Dark areas are actually noisier than bright areas in the very same photo. Why? Fewer photons. So because the dark areas had less light, they're noisier. When you raise your shadows in your processing, you're actually showing off the more noise. The solution? Keep it dark. Don't raise these shadows and look for a processing strategy that looks good with darker shadows maybe. A dark and moody processing technique, or maybe a contrasty look with bright lights and dark darks. Now, after you've done all this, what can you do? How to deal with inevitable noise. Most processing software has a noise reduction algorithm, but for many of them, it's no better than simply blurring the image until the noise is gone. This is a poor way to get rid of noise. If you want to see my processing techniques that can do a much more effective job of treating the subject and background separately, have a look at my video right here. Now that video also shows that there's a better way to get rid of noise, and it's to have a different noise reduction strategy and sharpening strategies, because sharpening and noise reduction have a huge impact on each other. Too much sharpening and you sharpen the noise, making it worse. Too much noise reduction and you destroy the detail. Now some programs like Lightroom Classic have a denoise feature that tries to add a more sophisticated denoising algorithm that treats the background and subject separately. It does a pretty good job, as you can see here, compared to the basic luminance noise reduction. You can see more detail recovered versus the basic model that basically just blurs the image until the noise is less noticeable. On some machines it can be a bit slow, maybe less good for large batch processing like a wedding photographer, but it's an okay choice for light amounts of denoising. Using Lightroom's denoise, it's focused on denoising, and now you have to sharpen the image again to balance out the denoising as part of a separate process. But when it comes to serious amounts of noise, my new choice is DxO Pure Raw 6, who are also sponsors of this video. One of the reasons I like it is that it's not just a noise reduction program. First, Pure Raw 6 is a demosaicing engine that starts with a raw file and decodes it using its very own color science. So you have the choice from what your camera profile gives you, what your processing software can give you, or what DxO Pure Raw gives you as a starting point in your processing. Also, it has a built-in sharpening algorithm, which does a great job at not just sharpening, but fixing optical aberrations. Great on older lenses, by the way. It downloads a profile of the lens and camera you're using, demosaics the image, and applies a smart noise reduction algorithm that differentiates between your subject and the background, then resharpens the image based on what will work the best. Let's look at this photo, ISO 12800 in low light that I shot in Botswana. File, plug in extras, preview and process with DxO Pure Raw 6. As you can see, it will download the camera and lens profiles for your setup. Now in Pure Raw, Deep Prime 3 is the old model, but I recommend Deep Prime XD3, the latest model. You can adjust the noise reduction and then bring back some details. Then choose a resharpening intensity and process. The before and after window with the slider to differentiate them is great to use. Now let's look at these to compare. The first is the original, super noisy. I don't recommend cropping in this deep, but with you looking on various devices of different resolutions, that's the only way you'll see a difference. Here, the original with no processing. Then let's add in the simple sliding of the noise reduction slider. Yuck. Now let's compare to the denoise algorithm of Lightroom Classic. Denoise on the left and just using the noise reduction slider on the right. That's an improvement. And now DxO Pure Raw 6 on the right compared to Lightroom's denoise on the left. For me, the Pure Raw photo is just a more pleasing image. It's not just a noise reduction. I find the image has a slightly contrasty look, details that look fine but not crunchy. If you look at the tongue, it doesn't look plasticky, if that's a word. The eyes look more penetrating, and the bridge of the nose has more details. Also, the forehead fur has more definition. If you want to try DxO Pure Raw 6, you can use code SIMON for 15% off, and you can even have a free 30-day trial at the link in the description. You can even try it for free to make sure you like it, and no subscriptions. I hope you can use these tips to get your noisy images looking their best, and hope you can come home your very next outing with your own unique and amazing photos. I know you can do it.